All right, peace and blessings to everybody out there. Welcome back to the Fake Woke Podcast. This is your boy Bobby Villain. I'm back with another video. Yeah, I know it's a double header today. Nick Cannon, y'all boy Nick Cannon. Let's give it up for Nick Cannon real quick. Congratulations, Nick Cannon. You have officially been broken, my good man. You have officially been broken. Now, I was scrolling on the on Instagram earlier, and I saw matter of fact, let me rephrase that. I ain't gonna tell no story. My boy Andre sent me a post from Dr. Boyce Watkins. I think that's his first name, Boyce. And he was advertising his lecture tonight on his website, talking about, or basically the title or the topic of the video is, have Nick Cannon been buck broken? Then I was scrolling on my timeline and I seen the video of Dr. Haiba Kaiwa Habane. I forgot how to correctly pronunciate his ancestral name. But we could go by his English name, Dr. Booker T. Coleman. That's right, Dr. Booker T. Coleman. Go look up his lectures. Go listen to his lectures. Study that man. He's one of the, sorry about that. He's one of our great thinkers, one of our great ancestral African/Aboriginal thinkers, scholars. He don't get enough credit. He don't get his flowers. So definitely go tap into his lectures, go tap into his work. But he was talking about buck breaking and the definition of buck breaking, and I saw that on my timeline, and it just clicked. You know, the universe is telling me to talk about this topic, to talk about this Nick Cannon situation. And also I read an article earlier today about the whole situation, about Nick Cannon's his reunion with Viacom CBS to finish out Wildin' Out. Now, if you're not hip to the situation, if you're not hip what happened to Nick Cannon a couple of months back, the gentleman had one of our great speakers, one of our great innovators, one of our great ancestors on his Cannon Class podcast. Professor Griff. He was a former member of the group Public Enemy. He got kicked out of Public Enemy because of his views of a certain group of people that I really should not mention, but I'm gonna go ahead and mention the Wu-Tang Clan. If you don't know what that is, sooner or later you'll understand what I'm talking about. But he had he had Professor Griff on his podcast, and they were talking about who the real Semitic people were. And of course, you know how a lot of woke black people get when it comes to biblical allegory or so-called biblical history. We like to say that the black man and woman are the original Hebrews, hence the Hebrew Israelites, or they call them black Hebrew Israelites. I just call them Hebrew Israelites, because there's no point in throwing black in front of it, because black is just Black is not even a color. Black is not even a race. There's no point in throwing that in there. Black just means slave when it comes down to American, the American language, the true definition of black is just a code word for slave. But they were talking about how the true Semitic people are and still is black people, Aborigines, us. And I don't disagree with that. I'm not even gonna debate that. I'm gonna let it be. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let that shit fly. Because to a certain extent, if we're going by so-called biblical history or whatever and actual history, then yeah, that would be true. That would be very much true. But again, like I said before, it's allegory for the most part to me. So when black people bring that up, and normally get in trouble because there's two groups of people that you're not supposed to talk about. Now, it's the, how can I say, the gay community. You can't talk about them because you're going to get canceled. And you can't talk about the Wu-Tang. Can't talk about them neither. Because you're going to be labeled anti-Semitic. And that's what happened to Nick Cannon. He got labeled anti-Semitic for saying that the true Semitic people were black people or is black people. On top of that, he sat there and said the heinous acts of the European was blatant savagery for the most part. And it was based out of inferiority complex. He got that from Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and her book, The ISIS Papers. If you have not read The ISIS Papers, read The ISIS Papers. And for the most part, I agree. The heinous acts committed by the European around that time were savage. They were savages. They were, for the most part, animals. They treated a group of people based off their skin color like they were cattle. They not wiped out, because they wiped out majority of the natives with the pen and not necessarily the sword. I'll touch on that one another time. But they wiped out a group of people with disease, with their filth, the fact that they didn't know anything about hygiene, the fact that the natives had to teach them what hygiene was. The Moors had to teach them what hygiene was when they conquered Spain. They wiped the group of people out with smallpox. They were sticking their filthy, dirty European dicks everywhere, causing disease. Their heinous acts were based off of savage behavior. So what Nick Cannon said was absolutely fucking true. What Nick Cannon said was absolutely fucking true. They came over here thinking they were taking something from a group of people. The group of people sat there and didn't even think that the land belonged to them. They didn't own this land. They were originally here, yes, but they felt like they did not own the land. So how can you take something from a group of people that they felt like they didn't even own in the first place? Then the European turn around and do it with the pen. Take everything from you with the pen. Take your status with the pen. Take your language, give you a belief system. Straight savagery. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Fuck you if you think different. I don't give a fuck. It was savage behavior. And for Nick Cannon to be buck broken like he has been, because buck breaking does yes, it relates to actual sexual rape. Yes, it does relate to that. Buck also is a term for male steeds, horses, fucking cows, blah, 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 even fucking humans. Even fucking humans. Hence the term buck breaking. But buck breaking doesn't necessarily have to only do with sexual rape. You could be raped financially, which for the most part, Nick Cannon was raped financially. They stripped him of Wild 'N Out. I think they stripped him of a couple of more things. They tried to get him the fuck on out of here, but he had Masked Singer and he still got his radio show. They pushed his talk show back because he's supposed to be coming out with a talk show, all types of shit. This whole debacle postponed a lot of things that he had in the works. And I personally felt like he's been broken, because why would you go back to somebody that completely raped you and took everything from you in the beginning? And then now you got to go to what I call re-education camps, because now you going to the Jewish community asking for education in their matters. Let's be honest here. Let's be fucking honest here. And I hate comparing struggle, so-called struggle, and I hate comparing the Holocaust to African slave, to the transatlantic slave trade, to the Islamic slave trade, to Aborigines being wiped out, black people being fucking wiped out. But let's be honest, when they sit there and they tell you to forget about slavery, they sit there and pump up the fucking Holocaust. Fuck that shit. That's bullshit. Fuck you if you think different. That's bullshit. How you gonna diminish, how you gonna undermine a group of people fucking being enslaved and wiped out just because a group of people, another group of people, so happen to have a different complexion, went through not even the same shit. It's not even on the same level. Let's be honest. It's not even on the fucking same level. Now, man, gotta go through so-called re-educating himself on the Jewish plight. Fuck that shit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. We got shit stripped from us. They sat there and they used propaganda. They used lies. They pumped our heads with fucking lies about who we were, who we are, what we had, what we created. And you sit there and you get mad because we calling it like it is. You don't want people to know that your ancestors were fucking savages, because that's what they were. They were fucking savages. How can you consider a group of people primitive, but they knew way more than you? You learned from them. Y'all the true fucking savages. That shit's bullshit. Besides that, Nick Cannon's been buck broken. They raped that man financially. He went back on his knees to get his shit back because he was providing for other people. That's all I gotta say.